Stately grasses, each blade perfect and erect, were interspersed with ultra-white, four-petaled flowers on stems 2 feet tall, with a touch of gold at the centers. Then I sensed a strange new feel to the stems, no moisture. I felt them carefully. Delicately smooth, yet nothing like earthly stems with their cellular watery content. Before I could ask, again I had the answer: earthly water is hydrogen and oxygen for temporary life support. Here Jesus is the living water. In his presence nothing dies. I instinctively looked behind me where I had been standing on dozens of blooms. Not one was bent or bruised. Then I watched my feet as I walked a few more steps upon the grass and flowers. They stood upright inside my feet and legs. We simply passed through one another. 12 Richard, a Messianic Jew, died in a horrible car accident, leaving him with a broken back, neck, and both arms, and 2 ribs puncturing his heart. The medics said he had been dead for about 8 hours when they found him. But Richard revived to describe the beauty of heaven and the new life found within. He also mentioned not only how green the grass was, but how alive the grass and flowers seemed with a new kind of life. I was walking through a garden that stretched for as far as I could see in either direction. And I saw great groups of people. On either side of the pathway was the richest turf green grass I had ever seen. And it was moving with life and energy. There were flowers of every imaginable size and color along the path. The air was filled with their aroma, and they were all humming. I asked if I could pick one to smell, and I was told that I could. It was wonderful. When I put the flower down, it was immediately replanted and growing again. Again, there's no death in heaven. The beautifully manicured park was filled with huge, striking trees. They had to be at least 2,000 feet tall. And there were many different varieties. Some I knew, others, I had no idea what species they were. There was a continual sound of chimes coming from the leaves of one tree as they brushed against one another. The fruit was pear-shaped and copper-colored. When I picked it, another fruit instantly grew in its place. When I touched the fruit to my lips, it evaporated and melted into the most delicious thing I had ever tasted. 13 Living water. I love water. I love the ocean. Sailing, surfing, scuba diving, I love it all. So one of John's statements about heaven's nature has always bugged me. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. Revelation 21 verses 1-2. No longer any sea. I was bummed. But the longer I've thought about this, John might not have been making a statement on the eternal state, but just what he noticed not there in his vision. After all, John had been imprisoned on the island of Patmos for years. The sea was his prison cell. What we do know is that there is water in heaven, living water. Ian McCormick, a New Zealand surfer who died while night diving, saw water in this place of exquisite beauty during his NDE. Through the center of the meadows I could see a crystal-clear stream winding its way across the landscape with trees on either bank. To my right were mountains in the distance, and the sky above was blue and clear. To my left were rolling green hills and flowers, which were radiating beautiful colors. Paradise. I knew I belonged here. I felt as though I had just been born for the first time. Every part of me knew I was home. 14 John also notes in Revelation, then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, as clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb down the middle of the great street of the city. Revelation 22 verse 1. Many NDers have mentioned rivers, waterfalls, a sea, but only Marv Bestman and a few others have mentioned boats. That may be an outlier from the common NDE, but as one who loves to sail, I'm banking on it. About 60 yards away, in the middle left of the panorama before me, were some old fishing boats pulled up on the shore of a huge, rippling lake. The boats looked worn and aged, not sleek and razzy-dazzly like the boats we see zooming around on Lake Michigan. They lay on a sandy, rocky seashore. The blue of the lake was a darker, less brilliant blue than the shade of heaven's sky, and the surface had a few gentle waves. Like an ocean or one of the Great Lakes, I couldn't see the other side. 15 Imagine if aliens landed in New York State, made observations for 1 hour, then returned home to tell what they saw. Some would say Earth was full of tall buildings everywhere. Another might land in the subway and walk out into the light to say Earth is a dark tunnel leading to brightly lit buildings. Others might land in Central Park and speak of beautiful grass, trees, and gardens, while others landing in upstate New York would describe yellow and orange autumn leaves on tree-covered hillsides. Each has but a small perspective, but together you'd get a composite picture. That's what I believe NDEs are giving us, and what's amazing is how much they're describing what Jesus and the prophets already told us in Scripture. As I write these words, I'm in the mountains above Los Angeles at an arts conference called Terra Nova, New Earth. The sheer beauty of this rugged mountain valley tantalizes the senses. I wish my son were here, because we would explore it together. How great will it be, when my son and I can explore the wonders of a creation that makes Earth's beauty pale in comparison. When my wife, daughter, and son can travel with me to faraway places for the most panoramic picnic imaginable. Maybe that's why the universe is so vast. When thought can take us anywhere, maybe we will find endless adventure exploring God's wondrous universe in a new time and space. What might that be like? Let's imagine.